Nobody has read the Bible. Not even the fuckers that wrote it. They didn't go back and read. The Bible is long as fuck. Ooh, that shit is long. Have you ever tried to read the Bible? Let me start from page 1. God damn, this shit is long. You know when a book is long when you check in the back. How much more? I hope that's all indexed. No. You're like, Deuteronomy. When the fuck does this end? And the pages are thin. Really thin. I mean, they are thin. It's like weed papers, I swear to God. People are smoking these papers. You know, they won't know this. What's that? That's Deuteronomy, brother. That's Deuteronomy. Nobody has read the Bible.
You wouldn't know or see the star how far there is near the truth of the pleading the fifth, and you can find it. Plead to read, to hear, to home, to find the hearing over the trial, to try it out the courthouse. This is living in the state of mind, for they don't mind the matter for the state. The mind of a matter is what you make it to be. It's a matter for the comfort of the mind, for the materialize. Eternal, the order, for the law, for the formula, for the frequencies, the wind to blow, the weather, for this to be the climate to mate. Environment for the meant to voluntarily, with the rarely fountains of the swallow of the mountains, the river, the valleys of the thirst. Piss back that for the oceans of circles. You find that valley for the circumstance, for the leaning on the kickstand. He seizes the swim, sun, he seizes the seashells, this is the gate to shores. Toss to the ripples of the cornhole for the bum, circle the bean bag, just to find a picture for the punchline, for the weather, toss up a board to points. Points that delegates the score to board, just defining games. This is why the knots is untangled for the love that undercovers itself of the skin underneath. Underwear, underseek, to fill out yourself with the care. You never take care, but to give it unto for the blessings of the same accord. Harmonious in the harm, money is never the money to spend. Harming me for the devaluating, the deviant for the deviant, for the devices to debate. Impose the polar opposites of the portals. Outer space of which is inside of it, you are the star of what you seen before. And the D for the time for the radar, something radical enough for the reactivate the riders of reluctant to rebate the rebellion for the rebound and the ravage and the ravine for the raids to the ocean and goodbye the wave. Celebrated the ways of the paradox of the parade, paraphrase the pair define of days, this is the cherished debate. Changing the need for the knot for the meters, the millimeter for the meter, year to the beast, for this define a container for the tested, confessed, confused with the confident for the confining of your convictions. The feelings felt not to try to hold up like belts, so the appetite for the more for the might to read the rights, the on, the wrong, the rights of this life, of the stripes, of this to be the hypes of the preceding right of this lit. A right to spit the spade, or say that for spite, to quench the evil thirst to be warned the worst, this warn the worst words of the worst outside of that, for the none righteous to none, the right of others to right to defend. A house of wise that may live to be witty over the water, over the composer liars and to be the lie. Spiraled, inspired, wicked for the become, uncontrollable for the uncomfortable for the enough of the wicked to flicker. Heavenly rations and over the initiated innately with the innovated of the youth to be ovulated in the heart to soul. And I don't know anymore. This could all be over, don't you know when? See how far you but the nerve of the materializing of the frequencies of the wind that blow for the weather, but not you can find the environment and climate change. I don't know when, how to see your harmoniously intuitive, the same as me. Voluntarily rare, the fountain to swallow the mountains, the river, the valleys, the thirst of the piss back, the oceans, the circles, to the circumstance to lean on your kickstand.
total, 600 shepherds arrived. Abraham ordered the jars to be emptied, placing the oil in the largest one. After completing this task, he asked each shepherd to take the wool from a sheep and mix it with the oil from the jars. Then, the Lord commanded him to take a large clay jar, fill it halfway with olive oil, and make a long wick of wool, wrapping one half in the oil and leaving the other half fixed at the top of the jar. At the end of this task, the Lord commanded Abraham not to light the wick with the fire from the altar. So as he approached the sacred fire still burning from the morning sacrifice, a small flame leaped towards the wick and slowly began to feed on the oil, transforming into a flame visible from afar. Chapter 2. Abraham embarks on the journey with the vessel on his shoulders. Abraham sets out on the journey with the vessel on his shoulders, anticipating many sufferings and trials ahead on his path. As he carries the vessel, many cannot bear the shame and several abandon him. Sarah's disbelief becomes evident as he begins his march towards the cities of the plain, accompanied by the shepherds. Mocking voices begin to be heard, seeing him with the incandescent vessel in broad daylight, labeling his behavior as madness. The news spreads, and many people come to meet him, urging him to abandon the vessel, fearing it would destroy his reputation and dignity before all. Abraham speaks to them of the armies and his joint mission with the shepherds, but they quickly conclude that he is mad and attempt to forcibly snatch the vessel from him. Abraham holds onto it firmly, thwarting their attempt. Ashamed of the situation, many shepherds begin to part ways. Some return to their tents, while others join those who mock his strange behavior. Feeling more alone than ever, with the heavy vessel on his shoulders, Abraham begins to feel anxious. Seeking someone to share his experience with, he realizes that all look upon him with disapproval. He then remembers Sarah, his beloved wife, who has always supported him in difficult times. However, when he sees her amidst the crowd, he is surprised to see the same contempt in her eyes as that of the mockers. Deciding to walk alone, he tries to put himself in the shoes of those who deem him mad, admitting that no sensible person would depart without a defined destination while carrying a vessel with a flame in broad daylight. With the vessel of salvation on his shoulders, Abraham advances on the unknown path, diminishing the mockery that weighed heavy on his mind since the oak tree in Mamre. Doubts about his future flood in, and the humiliations suffered since the summoning of the shepherds seriously make him consider the possibility of abandoning the vessel along the way and returning to the altar. Some shepherds and friends advise him to return to the altar, stating that he could regain the trust of the shepherds, perhaps even becoming the respected priest of old again, for the altar housed a fire much greater than the one he carried on his shoulders. As he is about to turn back, Sarah comes to meet him, dismayed by the shepherd's contempt, but she too seems to disapprove of his stubbornness in carrying this symbol of shame. She speaks to him of a plan to distance themselves and forget these humiliations, leaving behind the voice that sent him to the plain. Abraham responds that he is willing to follow her anywhere as long as he can take the vessel, now their altar, which will illuminate their nights with its flame. Sarah becomes even more irritated, not understanding his obstinacy in carrying this symbol of shame, and she returns to the tent, turning her back on him. Chapter 3. Abraham understands the meaning of the vessel. Abraham grasps the significance of the vessel and decides to shield its tiny flame from the cold winds that buffet it. Despite the mockery of the armies and the threats of extermination of the captives, Abraham presses on toward an uncertain future, guided only by the light of the flame, whose brilliance increases with the growing darkness. As he walks alone, he reflects on the small flame accompanying him. Accustomed to seeing the sacred fire on a grand altar amidst the praises of the shepherds, Abraham remembers the moments when he stood as master and priest, clad in luxurious robes, making sacrifices, brandishing a sword towards the heavens. He realizes that the flame he carries in a humble jar is a representation of the Messiah, the one who would separate from the great God to be God with us, becoming the companion of all their journeys. Transformed by this newfound conviction, the flame he bears shines even brighter. Abraham continues his journey with the weight of the jar on his shoulders, feeling the joy of an